whatever you like it to be for the Detroit Red Wings. And yes, this one is another of the gradings, I'll call them. GPA gradings, and this one's for the Detroit Red Wings. This is a team that has the third most championships in National Hockey League history and the most championships by any American National Hockey League franchise. It's an original 16, but this is its third straight year not qualifying for the postseason after 27 years straight of qualifying for the playoffs, including 4 Stanley Cup championships. We'll look at, of course, the positions, as I say, players, management, and we'll grade them. For the Red Wings, 3 straight years, but things are looking up. They've got new management, and they've got younger skaters and players that are in the up and up. And we'll first look at the centers, of course, and the first guy that comes to mind, the young Andres Antanasiou. He's a 24-year-old kid, and he had a really good season. He's played well and got better every single year. 76 games played for Antanasiou, 30 goals, 24 assists, and 54 points. 4 game-winning goals, as well as 74. Back to the standings for the Detroit Red Wings. 74 points, which puts them on 8th spot in the Eastern Conference overall, and 3rd to last, and also 7th spot in the Atlantic Division. Back to players. Look at Antanasiou. I think it's a fantastic center for them, and he's done really well. Jakob De La Rose, a young 23-year-old center that they've got there. He's played 60 games, 6 assists, 3 goals, 9 points. He doesn't play a lot, but he played enough to make me think that another good young player. Another good young one, Christopher N. Same age. Another young Swede, and Detroit has loved their Swedes. 60 games played, 3 goals for him and 6 assists. Also 9 points, but can also only get better. Luke Glendening, who's been in the system for a long time. He's a 30-year-old bottom line forward who played 78 games and scored 10 goals and got 13 assists, 23-point total, including a game-winning goal for Luke Glendening, and he's going to have to lead, but he's played well. Your centers, of course, who is consensus to be, in all probability, the next captain of this original 6 franchise, Dylan Larkin. Born and bred Red Wing fan, only 22 years old, has become a consensus leader. 76 games played, 32 goals and 41 assists, and great 73 points to lead this Red Wing squad. And Frans Nielsen is another center that they look at, a Dane. He played 72 games this season, got 25 assists, and scored 10 goals for 35 points altogether. Michael Rasmussen, a 20-year-old center, 8 goals, 10 assists, 18 points for him. And Dominic Turgeon, a 23-year-old center, wears 23, who played 4 games, but had 2 shots on goal, no goals. So it's hard to really understand what you get from him, but the centers are young, the depth is there, the potential is there. I put them at 1.5, but the potential can skyrocket depending on what these players will do. For wingers for the Detroit Red Wings, Justin Abdelkader, of course, good, definitive great player. 71 games played, 6 goals and 13 assists, 19 points. Down season for him, but he's one of their leaders, definitely, and one of their great players. Tyler Bertuzzi, the young nephew of great Canuck and Red Wing Todd Bertuzzi, 73 games played, 21 goals, 26 assists, and 47 points. A guy that loves to fight and likes to be aggressive, but can also score and has balanced it exceptionally this year. Really a star, a budding young star, only 24 years old. Martin Ferk, another young winger, who played 30 games, but only scored 1 goal and 5 assists, 6 points. Not very good for him. Darren Helm, one of the longer tenured Red Wings, who is the only Red Wing who started, not in the system, but only Red Wing who started on a Stanley Cup championship team that's still on the squad, and that's Darren Helm, 32-year-old forward. He was on the 8 team as a young player. 61 games played, 7 goals and 10 assists, 17 points for an aging guy. It's a good amount. It's a good workload. Anthony Mantha, winger they've had for a long time. 67 games played for him, 25 goals and 23 assists. He's had a very good season with 48 points. And Matt Pwemple, another winger to look at. 8 games played, 1 goal and 1 point. So not as good as he should be, but he can be a better. And then the veteran Thomas Vanek, who's played nearly everywhere. He goes to the Red Wings and he gets to play in 64 games. He totals 16 goals and 20 assists. And for an aging forward with 36 points, that's perfect for a player of that age. And then Luke Witkowski, another winger, played 34 games. He didn't score a single goal in any of these games, but he got 2 assists, and that gave him the 2 points. So 14 shots on goal for him this season. The wingers I would put at a 1.2, but again, growing. Also with Ryan Kuffner and Taro Hiroshi, who did not play, who only played in 10 games this year. Both got a goal and both got an assist. 2 really young players. The youth is there. The potential is there. The production not there yet, but it's going to level out at some point. Then the defense, now we'll start with the alternate captain, the only other player I actually did that was also on the Stanley Cup championship team started along with Helm, and that's Niklas Kronwall, 38-year-old defenseman, Swede, who really exemplifies the way the Red Wings want to play. And he played 79 games this year, 3 goals. Not the goal scorer he used to be as a defenseman, but he got 3. And 24 assists, 27 points. Definitely great for him at that age. Mike Green, after being traded from the Caps, he's been injured in and out. 33-year-old defenseman, played only 43 games, got 21 assists and 5 goals for an even 26 points for him. Jonathan Ericsson, another defenseman that they've had for a long time in the Red Wing system. Another one, actually, was on the Stanley Cup championship team, He played 52 games, got 2 goals and 2 assists, 5 points there for him. Danny DeKeyser, another defenseman, a young one, a 29-year-old defenseman I really like. He's played 52 games, 15 assists and 5 goals. He's a Detroit-born product. Trevor Daley, the former star and Penguin, comes over at 35 years old to Detroit and plays in 44 games, gathers 6 assists and scores 2 goals, which is good enough for him. And the younger cousin, and then the young nephew of Blackhawk and Red Wing alumni, Chris Chelios, Jake Chelios, comes in, a 28-year-old defenseman. He's played in 5 games, but no goals and no assists. So we'll see where that product ends up for them. And then from the Nick Jensen trade with Washington, they got a pick, but they also got Madison Bowie, a young defenseman, youthful defenseman at 24 years old, who bounced in and out of Hershey and Washington. He comes to the Detroit Red Wings, and he played 50 games between the Capitals and the Red Wings. 2 goals, 8 assists, and 10 points, but he's going to be a major factor on the backside next season starting for the Detroit Red Wings and what they are trying to do with that team. Jimmy Howard, who is another player in the program of the Stanley Cup Championship team, they didn't start. Jimmy Howard, a longtime goaltender that they've had, he played 55 games for the Detroit Red Wings. He started 52 of them, got 23 wins and 22 losses, with a goal average of 3.7 and a save percentage of .909. Played well for a fatigue team. And for wingers, I forgot to do the GPA for wingers. For wingers, I actually did 1.2. For defensemen, I put them at 1.4. Now goaltending, Howard had a good year. Jonathan Bernier, an up and down season for him. 35 games played, 30 games started, 9 wins and 18 losses. Really didn't go well too much for him. He played 1 game in the shootout. Detroit not able to really figure him out, but I think he should stay with the Red Wings. And then they have a young rookie that they're about to bring up that only played 1 game but will probably be playing a lot more time next year, Caden Fulcher. He played in the game, but he didn't start it. He was only brought through, so he didn't give much of a win or much for Fulcher. But he has a potential to be a great goalie there in Detroit. For the goalies, I would put about 0.9, but it's less to do with them. It's just less to do with more to do with the team and the production. But the goaltending is going to be good. But I think if you lose Jimmy Howard this offseason, it's not going to go well for the Red Wings. So you want to keep him. Jonathan Bernier, I think they should still have on the roster. But more importantly is for Howard to play his years out and teach Caden Fulcher to be the eventual starter for the Detroit Red Wings. Jeff Blashill's a really good coach. I think coaching-wise, I put them at a I like what he did with not a lot of effort and not a lot of effort, but not a lot of resources, not a lot of widespread talent that was ready, and bringing them all in at a time to understand we're not going to contend, but to learn through the players. And I think he did a really good job of that. And we'll see what Blashill does in the next year. I would give Blashill a 2.0 GPA. For management. Management started pretty awful this year, but even though they didn't get the 6th pick, Kenny Holland's still in the fray, but they were able to get Steve Yzerman as a general manager, the Red Wing great, finally able to get the full general manager job. And we'll see how much Kenny Holland is going to want to take from them. I think the Red Wings be a good team next year. Management, if we're looking overall this season, I'm going to give them a 3. I think they did a good job with what they have. And next year is going to be a make-or-break year, not to make the playoffs, but to see and understand what the potential is. Red Wings have a bright future ahead of them. Let's see what happens with it. Hopefully, all you Detroit fans, the good will happen there as well. And my final GPA I'm going to give this team is a 1.9. So hopefully they'll grow on that and they'll learn on that. Thank you for listening and paying attention to all of this. And like, subs, anything as I've said, pay attention to this channel, watch in, I really appreciate it. And thank you, and good night and happy hockey.